Thank you, Mas Garin Nugroho, for joining us here for the interview, all the way from Jakarta. It's good to hear your voice and see you, and you're healthy.
Yeah, thank you also because now I am in the middle of shooting for a short film. It is my face a little looks like tired.
Hard work, but I'm happy to hear
Yeah,
you're still working despite the COVID pandemic also
yeah,
hitting Indonesia pretty badly.
yeah, yeah,
We're going to talk about your play here in the Holland Festival, which will be here in June. I watched it and it made me cry, I have to say,
yeah,
especially the start, because I witnessed the aftermath of the tsunami in 2004, and I witnessed so many other disasters
yeah,
in your country. And
yeah,
the feeling of sadness really reflects in your play, in The Planet,
yeah.
A Lament. Maybe we should start by asking you, can you explain a little bit the story behind this play?
It's about several years ago. It's about like 5 years ago. I'm I'm travel in the east of Indonesia in Larantuka, small island in east of Indonesia, and I am joined or saw the ceremony of Eastern ceremony, and in the one of the biggest moment of the Eastern ceremony is the lament song will be present in every part of the ceremony. This is become the first sources bring and develop the idea of this performance. But I think Lamen is one of the orchestra of life, orchestra of feeling between enlightenment and death.
You started with the lament. We will discuss
Yes.
the lament and the songs, the beautiful songs in your play
Yeah.
in a minute. But the
Yeah.
story starts with a disaster, right? With a
Yeah.
tsunami,
Yeah.
which is also inspired by the tsunami in 2004, which hit Aceh very badly. 175,000 people died. This is also part of your inspiration, right? Why did you choose the disaster?
Yes, because by accident, yeah, by accident, 2 days or 3 days after the tsunami Aceh, I came to Aceh, and I can see how the big tragedy of human being there, because of the tsunami. Not only that, I also come to, for example, to Maumere, also the tsunami. I also there in the middle of situation of the tragedy of human being between human and environment like that. And I was born in Yogyakarta, and when the earthquake in Yogyakarta and the eruption of the mountain, there I am also there. Part of my life is become part of the problem and the dialogue between human and environment in my country.
And why did you want to tell this story about the human tragedy and the lament now? Why did you have the urge to tell this story now?
1 year before I made this performance, I always say to safety is the soloist also create some song in this performance. I always say that one day maybe we have like a pandemic like that.
Really?
That
You predicted it?
yes, yes. It is why if you saw in this part of the performance, this is the song that from the word of Papua, I always I cannot answer if you come to Papua and then you cannot answer what will be happen. What is your destination? You will be say I away. And this song I made several weeks before the performance, and I said to Septi, this is before the pandemic now. I said to Septi, please make this song because we will traveling on the planet that we didn't know our destination. We didn't know the place that make we more safety and healthy. And we didn't know and how we can reach the new planet with the atmosphere or safety and healthy like that. And this way, the song I, the content of the word is only where is our new destination.
Yeah, because it's pretty amazing that you actually predicted what was going to happen. So you had a feeling something is going on with nature and something bad will happen to humanity.
When I had traveling in Maumere, for example, in the earthquake in Maumere, then the old people always saying that why the wind, the sea, the fire is become angry like that. This is the question from one old people that I met near of the beach. Why they angry? Maybe because they didn't have the place now. Because the world is the development of new technology of human being now develop the everything the something dead like the car, the hotel, the roads like that, very fast.
So disasters are meaning the pandemic, the COVID pandemic, but also the climate change, right? All
Yeah.
these kinds of disasters are reflected in your play. You already
Yes.
talked about Septi. Septi is Septina Layan, right, from Papua,
Yeah.
a solo singer who actually starts your play with the song and continues to be singing in the beautiful lament songs in your play.
Yeah.
It starts with this disaster, and there is a man, one person survives, and he
Yeah.
only has an egg.
Yeah.
What happens next?
It is like a classical story, that the man mm, must be take the axe that in the safety and healthy place, that the egg will become what you call apa bertelur pecah telurnya, what is that?
A broken egg?
Yeah, the broken egg and the new thing come, the new planet will become, the new human being will become, the new hope will become like that. Egg is the classical symbol, like in the Eastern, for example. Egg is also energy. Egg is also earth itself. It is why I use an egg as the way tell the narrative story is also the symbol itself, like
Rebirth.
yeah, rebirth.
And the old people die, because that's basically also the meaning of the play, right? Something new is
Yeah,
born.
something. So many people die and left several people that must be make a very long journey with the eggs that they try to looking a place that make the eggs can broken and the new life come.
You mentioned already the lament, which is very important in your play.
Yeah.
You actually looked very long for a long time for the right singers, the right choir, right, to
Yeah.
sing
Yeah.
these songs of sorrow and suffering.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit? How did you go on your search?
When I interesting to develop lament as the way to tell the story, that I must be met with someone who can sing lament, but also can what you call make a new lament. Also, lament is part of his life or her life, you know. And then by accidentally in Papua, I make travel in Papua, I met Septi. And Septi is the family of lament. This is the first idea that can develop my performance. And the second, I must be also looking for several songs, a lament song from several area in Melanesia area, from Papua to Nusa Tenggara Timur. Looking for the lament song, the original lament song from several villages in east of Indonesia. And I also looking for the pentatonic song, not diatonic song.
Yeah, I saw that. Can you explain? Because I don't think many people will understand.
Yeah, pentatonic song is more traditional song, original song from the village that from the 2 until 5, but not do re mi fa sol si do, not only until 5.
So it has less tones, basically.
Yeah, less tone, and this has become the character of traditional song. The dilemma is it is never written.
It's only oral history.
Oral story. The dilemma for our performance and how we can write them as a part of the choir.
But then you found Masmur Chorale from Kupang.
Yes, and then I'm traveling in Papua and Nusa Tenggara and casting, looking for a good choir, good singer in several months. And then, then I met with several choir in Papua or in Nusa Tenggara Timur and met with the Masmur choir.
Mm-hmm. And that was the perfect match.
Yes, because why I choose the Masmur choir, because of course the quality itself, but because it's also the member of the Masmur choir from many villages in east of Indonesia. from Sabu Island, not only from Kupang, but from Sabu Island, from Sumbawa, and etc.
But this lament is very interesting, right? It's like hypnotizing, it's like comforting, right? When someone dies or there is suffering.
Yes.
But it
Yeah.
also gives some kind of new energy, I think, or not?
Yeah. Yeah. Lament is in between tragedy and enlightenment. Lament is how people feeling the tragedy with the spirit of enlightenment. It is why if you heard a lament song in village, then the lament singer sing a song of lament in the different perspective, tell a story about tragedy and enlightenment.
But is it important for people to have this lament to overcome disaster and tragedy? Because I feel like in the West maybe we don't have this lament as they have in East Indonesia, for example.
Yeah, I think with the new technology, even with the what you call the discovery of human being now, with everything in the new modernity, we can never solve the problem, even the pandemic, in the very fast way. And relation with this story, I think, with this lament, the important thing, we get the feeling into in the environment, that we can love the environment itself. And if we love it with the song, with the ceremony, we become part of the environment. And if we become part in the environment only in 75 minutes, then how we try to develop the way our develop to solve the problem in the world now is in the atmosphere that we are part of the environment. We are part of the song of environment itself.
And what can we learn here in the Netherlands from this lament?
This performance is a very simple performance, can bring a trauma healing that with the feeling as a orchestra of human being between tragedy and environment. And I think if it even it is simple, but I think important in this world now.
Yeah, because your performance, The Planet, a Lament, is not only a performance, but it feels like a ceremony. Like what you say, like a healing process from the beginning to the end.
All the ceremony is the micro of the macro of life itself. Everything comes together in the ceremony. The dialogue, the feeling into, the sympathy and empathy, togetherness, sing a song as together as a human being together, it's become a micro of macro life that so many problems and more complex and more complex. And I think the way we decided to make performance a ceremony, I think it is, even it looks like simple, it is very important now.
I experienced the same sort of ceremony after the tsunami in Aceh in 2004, when a whole village disappeared. And I went back with only the survivors, a small group of survivors, and they were sitting there at this flattened village and started praying. It was for Eid al-Adha, and they kept singing and singing and singing, and everyone was like crying. It was very, very powerful, and I will never forget. It was such a healing experience, and I think that's exactly also what I felt when I was watching your play. It's a healing experience.
Sing and dance in ritual ceremony, not only about sing and dance, it's a medium. Because in the sing, a song, in the song itself is a poem. And poem is what you call a catharsis, an oasis for a macro and complex life itself.
But that's also the reason why you chose only to use the singing combined with film, right? There's still film in your play as well, and combined with the singing and dancing. There's no dialogue whatsoever.
The process of Planet Alignment is about 2 years for rehearsal, And the first of 1 year, we use the music. And one day, the electricity, when we make a rehearsal in Kupang, in Nusa Tenggara, east of Indonesia, the electricity is die.
Oh, that's not
and
unusual.
We cannot sing, we cannot use a music. But it is like a miracle, Then in the dark room, only a human voice is more strong. We decided not use electronic music.
Wow, that's a big decision.
Yes, this is big decision because the three of the composer then we must be decided, and then we must be make a composition with the voice of human being.
You started again, basically.
Yes.
But what's interesting that you used only cast from East Indonesia, right? Papuan singers, dancers, the singers from East Nusa Tenggara, from Kupang. Why did you choose East Indonesians?
East Indonesian is what we call Melanesia, from the Papua until Nusa Tenggara until Hawaii. This is the Australia part of the what we call the Melanesia. I choose the Papua and Nusa Tenggara because they have a specific character, how they express themselves, specialty in song. Mm-hmm. In area of Nusa Tenggara, like Bajawa, in the study of music, for example, this area is part of the strong sources of music itself and song itself. That's why then I choose this area, because the special characterization in voices of them, then different, for example, with the west of Indonesia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And also how do we react with all the problem with the song and dance is also have a special thing that is, for me, is very interesting.
And it's also, of course, an area, especially Papua, which is known for a lot of suffering over the years.
Yeah.
Not only climate disasters, but also political.
The theme of lament is become very important voices from the situation of the Melanesia, the theme of lament, because the paradox and the relation and the dialogue between tragedy and enlightenment is part of their life, not only in relation with the tsunami, for example, but also in the social and political and etc.
Mm-hmm. Because how worried are you about their future? I mean, if you look at the situation in Papua, also recently there's a new military operation going on, so there's quite some suffering there.
The root of the World War II, is the Melanesia that Japan lost in Hawaii, for example, in the World War II, and the world developed different, for example. The Melanesia with more Christianity and Catholic and Protestant, for example, and this is Islam is two area in Indonesia that in the future will have so many so many different perspectives, and these two area is also famous because of the rich of the natural sources too. Mm-hmm. This is unlike in my performance an act, Yeah. There is energy, Cool, like that. Everything is there,
Yeah.
In Papua, for example,
Yeah, because it shows in the play that the rebirth is actually happening in Papua. That's how it feels, right?
Yeah, this is why I choose the Papua dancer, bring the act itself, because I think it's become a very important presentation that they always try to make a journey for the rebirth and reborn.
But is this a message also about politics or not to the government in Jakarta?
I think every performance is always politics. Every performance is always politic. Every performance is always about environment, and every performance is always about human being.
You want to put the Papua struggle to the centerpiece, right? To the center, to draw attention to it.
I feel so sad because not so many young people from Papua have the place to present himself in the what you call in the performance art.
And now you're bringing them to Amsterdam to show us.
Yeah, yeah. I so happy in that we can see the talent of many young people, in east of Indonesia, because east Indonesia, if you saw, not so many group of performance art that they can develop and get support to develop their talent.
Mm-hmm. Also, in your play, there are 3 eaters who are born out of our muck. 3 monsters, basically, also playing an important part in your story.
Yeah.
Who are they?
I try to develop the story with what you call the way classical performance art in Indonesia use the symbolization like that. And these 3 character or monsters is developed from the what you call like something like plastic, for example, that they cannot never die. Plastic can never die, and they need the energy and become the monster itself.
So it will never go away. Basically, it will always
never.
be
And
there.
it's become monster of life itself.
Yeah.
Life
Especially
itself.
in Indonesia, it's a big problem. Plastic is polluting the rivers and the sea. And there's a very powerful image of a wall full of clothes, pieces of clothes.
Yes.
At one stage.
Yes.
What is that?
Anna is the artistic from Australia. I think I love it, the way and the concept of the artistic, because they use the clothes, baju bekas,
Yeah, old clothes.
Baju bekas.
Used clothes.
Old clothes. New clothes. As the important element to tell the story of this performance art. And it is part of the issue of environment. The way use the clothes itself is more represent the problem of environment itself.
Mm-hmm. There's one moment in the beginning when a woman is singing with a shirt, which she picks up. It feels really like after the tsunami, I've seen literally the same scenes with people who are like looking for pieces from their loved ones who died, and they were like smelling the fabric. Is that something that you thought about as well?
As I said, that 2 days after tsunami, my NGO work for the John Hopkins University, for example, CARE and UNESCO to develop some activity with refugee camp with many women to develop their capacity to tell the story about their family and their own identity after the tsunami. And then so many things, like a mother, for example, heard the voices of their children, even their children has died, and he is looking something, and he just only met with small pieces of clothes, for example.
Exactly.
And small pieces of clothes will be represent about the history, about the lost history, about the environment, about everything, even it is a small pieces of clothes. Clothes, yeah. It is when then we use the cloth itself as earth itself and at problema itself.
So at the end of this whole journey, the journey with the egg and the rebirth and the purification,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
are we going to go? Do you believe in this rebirth? What is it like?
Yeah, because I always back to the the lament itself, and then I always make an ending with the question, but also a purification and enlightenment itself, because this is the characterization of the lament, that they always put quote by quote a positive way of thinking. It is why in the end of this performance, the purification, also the enlightenment, the future with togetherness is one of the answer of the situation in the futures. Because if you say, for example, part of the European is free from the pandemic, do you think we have the world from the pandemic?
No.
No. It is why then the world of the pandemic itself is the how togetherness to solve the problem, for example.
Yeah.
It is why
Solidarity.
the purification is important also from this performance
Yeah.
art.
Beautiful. And this journey, we're talking about this journey, right, of the world, but where is the journey of Garin Nugroho going? Because I know you from films from long time ago. You've done so many different forms of art. You were here at the Holland Festival with Setan Jawa, which is a film. Now you're making a play. Where are you going?
Yeah, this is a difficult question because the journey sometimes we didn't know where is the place, the ending of my place. I always try to make a simple thing. I always say that make an works of art is like a ceremony, traditional ceremony. In the traditional ceremony, if you come to the traditional ceremony in the village, you can see so many elements of art. Dance, song, theater, installation art, cooking, and etc. All is about collaboration among many aspects that create something. And no matter you use the medium of technology of film, or you use theater, or you use dance or installation art, it is why I also make an installation art that 5 years ago in the Louis Vuitton Gallery in Paris, for example. Because human being is like always in the journey of ceremony in many perspective of form. And the form itself can become a film, can become a dance, and become theater, become installation art, like that. In the classical history of art, even we didn't have the specialization. I always, how are you, Garin? I am agriculture people.
So the form is not the most important thing. It's the
Yes.
basic, the seed that you plant literally as an agriculture man.
Yeah.
And then the form comes from itself.
Yeah.
But is there any challenge, any boundary that you have that you still want to cross? Something that you haven't tried before?
I always like what you call zero atmosphere. Everything that I never do it, I will be love it very much. It is why all my theme or issue in my world of art is always sensitive and different. Because every time you become zero, for example, from the Setan Jawa with the Java gamelan and dance, then jump to the choir in Nusa Tenggara, and then you become zero. and become suspense and surprise.
Mm.
And then I think this is the important thing of human life. If you in the journey of suspense and surprise from the zero, then you must be develop the new map, new journey.
So the zero is the rebirth from your
Yes,
play.
it's like the act itself.
The egg, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a very beautiful way to end this conversation. I want to thank you very much for explaining everything. We hope to see you soon with the whole cast, because they will all come also from Papua, right? They all come to Amsterdam. I think
Terima kasih juga
terima kasih
for this
banyak.
dialogue.
You made a beautiful play. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much for the hospitality of Holland Festival.
Makasih banyak.
Terima kasih semuanya.
Yeah, good luck with the new play as well, new story, short film.